Today will be SundaeSwap ISO reward calculation day. We've been told there will be whale control. This is a good thing for wider distribution of tokens across the ecosystem, but at the same time, everyone's hoping the most punishing parts of that curve start just above whatever amount they're holding. Today's the day of don't whale control me, bro. Ready? Let's go. We're going to talk about the merits or lack thereof of whale control. A recent poll indicating very good sentiment toward Muesliswap and what that might mean about the psychology of the Cardano ecosystem. Another giant recent Solana outage. I know you're asking yourself, is this an old episode? No, it's another recent Solana outage. And why we're not going to talk very much. We're not going to go into very much detail about the Cardstarter Sundae controversy. According to this article, today's the day we find out how many SundaeSwap tokens we're going to get in the ISO. That makes sense because today is the end of the first epoch of the ISO, and some people are already a little bit unhappy. That is because it's pretty easy to look at this list of participating stake pools and see that, a large number of them are approaching something that looks like saturation, and figure out that if you only have 5 ADA, you will likely not be buying a Cybertruck with your ISO rewards. And this is okay. Of course, as delegators in the ISO, we'd love it if we just got all of the tokens and those were all in our pockets, but the project does need those tokens for other things. So the part we don't know. So we know that if you only have 5 ADA, you're not going to be buying any kind of exotic vehicles with your rewards. The part we don't know is this other part about what I believe has been described as a nonlinear whale control curve. Whale control is an interesting topic because if you were like a free market Adam Smith, invisible hand purist, you might say the best way to go about it is to have no whale control, let the whales get their due reward. But I think there's sort of a social context that it's a lens that this is all filtered through. Everybody would be happy if you were told the whale in question was a coal miner who makes a very small wage and has put a huge portion of all of his paychecks into Cardano, and he just accumulated this Cardano. It's his life savings. This is the thing that's going to propel him out of the coal mine. You would all say, don't whale control him, bro, or her. I know not all coal miners are men. Could be a lady. Don't whale control her, bro. But if we're talking about a venture capitalist who saw this opportunity, or any kind of, institutional-ish money, anybody like that, any party like that, any group like that saw this opportunity and said, oh, we don't care about Cardano, but there's some free tokens to be had here. Let's take this giant fund of, USD fiat, shift it into Cardano, grab those tokens, and then, exit from Cardano. Take those tokens, immediately dump them on the markets, crash the price of SundaeSwap tokens, and then get out of Dodge. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of whales we do want to be controlled. I think most people in the Cardano ecosystem would say, yes, we must control those types of whales. So probably because we view this economic distribution through this kind of social lens. I mean, you could argue it's still a purely economic lens because there's a different economic impact to somebody like, some big VC firm or something. I'm using that term very loosely to describe sort of like the bad financial economic character. But you could argue there's a very different purely economic impact to that versus, our fictional coal miner. I know there are real coal miners, and I'm sure there are coal miners in Cardano, but we're describing a fictional scenario here. But it's a little bit more that social context thing. I mean, it definitely colors the conversation here. You want individual actors to get their due reward out of this SundaeSwap ISO. And I'm using that word reward also kind of loosely because it's not really a reward. These are basically free tokens. You could argue, hey, most of these pools, there were some additional pools added in, but most of these pools were pools chosen as initial scoopers of the SundaeSwap protocol. And by being included in the ISO, they're getting quite a bonus in terms of delegators. This is us as delegators are providing part of the financial incentive for them to be scoopers. It's a bonus on top of whatever money they're making as scoopers. So actually, we are contributing something, even though we're kind of getting these tokens for free because they're not taking any part of our normal ADA rewards. There is a contribution being made by the delegators, and in return, we're getting these SundaeSwap tokens. Even if we remove this fictional stark contrast between the innocent coal miner on the one hand who we want to help out and the evil VC money on the other hand, even if we remove all of that, if you're in crypto, you probably believe in decentralization. You probably believe in the many goods of decentralization that have been described as part of the whole crypto narrative. And regardless of this contrast between the individual and the institution, the coal miner and the greedy VC person, even if you take all that out, you still probably believe in the decentralization just on the merits. Even if the coal miner had $5 million worth of Cardano, you would still prefer that these tokens be decentralized and not centralized as much in the 5 million ADA holder. So of course, we all see the group benefit of this well control, but at the same time, we're all individual economic actors. And because this is a world where we have bills to pay, almost all of us, we need to act in our best interest as well. So everybody's kind of like, yes, decentralization. Let's do some well control, but fingers crossed that happens mainly at whatever level of ownership is slightly above me. So both for this common good for the group and for individual economic self-interest, I'm very interested to see what this well control curve actually looks like. I'm also interested in that there were some hints that they might have some mechanism for controlling the splitting of wallets. Obviously, the well control means nothing if someone with whatever 5 million ADA could just split that up into a whole bunch of smaller wallets. Obviously, you're just creating sort of an administrative burden and rewarding the people who are willing to rewarding the whales who are willing to go through that administrative burden to appear as if they are just many smaller wallet holders. I'm really interested to see if such a thing actually exists here, or if we're just going to see all the whales splitting all of their wallets. Luckily, Cardano is already in a place where we have multiple dexes, and SundaeSwap wasn't the first. It was, in fact, Muesliswap. Muesliswap, who we just found out, has been listed as an exchange on CoinMarketCap. Congratulations to Muesliswap. Muesliswap has done something pretty incredible. When they came on the scene in late November, they were a dark horse. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody knew how things were going to turn out. But now, here we are in late January, and the situation is completely different. Here's a poll where people were asked about their experience with Muesliswap. It looks like over 1,000 people have voted, and it looks like over 84% have said they had a good experience with Muesliswap and they would use it again. That is what you call a fantastic user approval rating. Great job, Muesliswap team. Don't forget the disclosure that I do own some of their tokens. I don't often agree with Bitcoin maximalists, but when I do, it's because we all enjoy mocking Solana outages. Here the question is asked, has Solana been down for 72 hours? And we get this nice little meme down here with the friendly older guy who seems to be in intense pain. He says, what's the difference between Ethereum and Solana? Second pane of the image says, on Solana, my transactions fell much faster and cheaper. Seems like there have been so many Solana outages just in the last, like 12 months. It's almost gotten boring to talk about them. But I think it is important to talk about solving the blockchain trilemma. And I don't think you're really solving the blockchain trilemma if your blockchain doesn't run, if it stops, if it can be turned on and off by some smallish quorum of individuals. Even more so if you have such intense hardware requirements for validators that true decentralization of the validators is kind of an economic impossibility. So I don't do this out of sheer enjoyment of these Solana outages, even though it's pretty amusing. But I think it is important to point out which blockchains are moving towards solving the blockchain trilemma and which might appear to be doing the same things as some of the other blockchains, but maybe are missing one of those legs in the trilemma. Finally, some of you will be relieved and some of you will be disappointed that we're not going to talk about the controversy surrounding Cardstarter and SundaeSwap. While I am absolutely positive it will make excellent fodder for podcasters and YouTubers alike. There'll be some good drama to cover, and there'll be there have already been lots of screenshots thrown around. This article from SundaeSwap Labs, even Charles was asked to weigh in and made a whole video about this today. But we're not going to cover it because I think there are too many unknowns here. As Charles pointed out, this is a relationship between two commercial entities in our ecosystem, and the controversy surrounds the relationship between those two, which is largely private. It's largely private. There's too many things we don't know about, too many discussions we haven't seen. We've seen a few screenshots, but there's probably a lot of conversation that's happened there that we're just not privy to. So I don't think we can really have a meaningful conversation about who did what, who said what, because we just don't know. This type of drama does command a lot of attention, but it's actually not the most interesting thing going on in our ecosystem. The most interesting thing going on in our ecosystem is the fact that over the next 6-9 months, whatever ends up being, we're going to see the rollout of a huge number of dApps to an extremely large crypto community. The Cardano community is gigantic. It was already gigantic at the moment we started rolling out these dApps. At the birth of Cardano DeFi, when Muesliswap launched in late November, Cardano was bigger than any crypto community had ever been at the birth of dApps in that ecosystem. That's what Cardano is. It's something kind of special. We have this gigantic Cardano community, and we're rolling out all these interesting dApps over the course of 2022. We're going to get to watch all that go down. I'm excited. I hope you are too, and I will talk to you tomorrow.